himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so knew off in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Ferrari, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Hayes deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such chopper. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are here for the Game of Gear Direct GT3 Endurance Challenge Championship. 2 hours of Monza, 5.75 kilometers of what plans to be some absolutely epic racing. I'm James Piper. I'm alongside Pete Baxter here today as well, bringing you all of the action we possibly can. Thank you so much to everybody that has joined us in racing community, and our very own Tom Weston, much love to you, James Middleton, Jesse McMinimum as there as well, and Justin Davies. Thank you so much guys for joining us. But it is Monza, it's a difficult circuit. We've got 4.5 minutes left of qualifying before we start the race and get you going here as well. But what we can do is bring Pete into the booth to have a chat with me for the next 4.5 minutes. Pete, how are you, sir?
Oh, wonderful tonight, and it's just awesome to be here again for the Premier Endurance League Championship. I love this part of my contribution to iRacing. It's just awesome. And not only that, James, we've got a race which is the first endurance race we're seeing right after a new iRacing update with some really significant changes for GT3 tyre models, GT3 damage models, and also off-track models at the track. So sand traps are going to work, not as much damage in the barriers. So, you know, some really nice changes and tweaks to the iRacing sim. We got lots of drivers here. I know I'm desperate to get a really good result. And we've got one of the world's most classic point-and-shoot tracks that I've ever seen.
We definitely have. If you're wondering what all the pretty colours are on the left-hand side, they are the classes. We have elites and the challenger classes. The elites are in green, the challenges are in yellow, in orange, sorry. So if you're from the UK and you're going, what is the challengers and what is the elites? Basically, as we know it as pro and am. So if you want to look at it that way, the pros will be in green, the ams are in orange. So there we go. We've got everything going on here, Pete, as well. We said the first major broadcast after an update. There's been some major changes with the grass. There's been some major changes with the gravel. You can see, if you're wondering on the left-hand side, why there isn't a car logo next to certain people. That is the new Ferrari, okay? They are in the new Ferrari. So Robert Crisdale is in the new Ferrari as well. And McClymont is also in the new Ferrari. So that's why there's no logos there, but I promise you they are in the race, and you will see here as well just how they get on for this 2-hour race around Monza. Now the changes, people, you know, the grass is a major one, the gravel is a major one as well. You know, just how is it going to affect these drivers with the changes that have been made at the moment?
I think the biggest effect is coming out of Lesmo 2. So, you know, you come out of Lesmo or Lesmo 2, and you're most likely, if you overshoot it, you're going to end up in the sand barrier. Now, previously, the sand and grass on iRacing was a little bit like ice. You just sort of scoot across them, you'd hit the barrier, you get some aero damage, you get some wheel damage, and your car could be toast, you could be in the pits. The issue now, what they got now, what iRacing done is they've really ramped up the friction in the sand in particular. So if you come off and you hit the sand, it's going to slow your car down significantly. Now, the good thing about that is you're not going to hit the barrier with the same level of power that you might have used to going across the sand as ice. The bad thing about it is if you just come off a little bit and run through the sand, you would have only lost about 1 second going up Curva de Sarajevo up towards Ascari chicanes, but now you're going to lose 3.5 to 4 seconds. So you're just going to have to be on the ball. You can use that little turf ripple just off the ripple chute, that little synthetic turf patch on the track. That's like got good track conditions about it. But you touch the sand, your car's slowing down, you're losing 1 to 4 positions if you're in a pack.
Now, for me, that itself is a positive update, right? Partly because, as we know, with the way the model was before on the grass and the gravel, it didn't really slow you down, right? You were just on ice, you're falling over on your knees, and you just go straight for the barrier. Now, though, it digs you in, it actually stops you, which for me is great. It brings one of the added realism to the simulator itself. We have just entered into the last 45 seconds as of right now, and you can see Adam Jepson on your screen here, and he is currently on pole position with Benn Jeffery and Robert Crisdale right behind him. But for me, I think that's a great step in the right direction. I've got to be honest, I'd love to see some of the new graphics that they've done, maybe updating some of the old circuits like Monza, like Silverstone, Alton Park, Brands Hatch, and many more, I'm sure, as well. And not just in the new one of Willow Springs and a couple of others that they put it in, because I think the tracks itself, like the grass, needs a kind of a revamp, Pete. I think, make it look like grass, because, when do we see grass that looks like AstroTurf?
Not only grass. Essentially, I think I think it's awesome, right? Lose 5 seconds and 5 spots rather than lose 5 minutes and 5 laps. That's what a smart driver's got to think. But look, we're talking about race drivers here. They get that helmet on, they get in the sim, that eyes glaze over, the speed glaze over. It's all about getting in front of somebody, and quite often, and we've seen it a lot in the past, people don't want to lose 5 seconds and 5 spots. They would rather fight to the end, and they end up losing 5 minutes and 5 laps.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they can keep their race driver head on, then a little run through the sand trap is probably a better outcome now than scooting across it like icing into the fence. So look, end of qualifying, and I think we've got a few minutes of warm up, and then away we go.
Yeah, we're going to have 5 minutes of warm up after this, guys. Just wait for the last of the drivers to go across the line as well. Alex K, morning or evening for me, he said. Yes, it is a little bit of a time of the day here. It's, as you can see currently at the moment, it's 11:15 in the morning in the UK. Justin Davies, I must have been dropped to Challenger. Well, that's what I've got you as, young sir. So apologies if that isn't correct, but the list that I've got sent has you down as a Challenger. So, sorry about that if that's incorrect. Yeah, never mind. Hey, all good there as well. So as I say, we have come to the end of qualifying. The last man should be over the line will be Nick Wood here in the BMW. We have got them all here. We've got BMWs, we've got Mercedes, we've got the new Ferraris, we've got a McLaren, we've got an Audi, and we've even got a Ford. We've got 2 of them in the field currently at the moment here. Matthew Gerard is in one and Matt Keane is in another. So even the Ford here, Pete. Somebody's getting brave.
Well, they are. Maybe we need to send them to a local psychologist before they come to the next race if they're choosing a car. But to be honest, I jumped in the new Ferrari, the new 296 GT3 iRacing race. I had a few laps of it at Imola earlier before the race. I compared it to the 488, which I've got, and the Porsche, which is my favourite GT3 to drive at the moment. And the 488 Ferrari was the one that was half a second faster for me. It was the only one I got in the mid-48s. Both the new Ferrari and the old Porsche. To be honest, I was jumping in doing the mid-endurance, the mid-downforce endurance setup that iRacing gives, so no tweaks to downforce, whatever, and just doing 2 laps and seeing where I sat. And both the Porsche and the new Ferrari were just 49 zeros, and then I jumped in the for the old 488, and it just must be a comfort factor, because that for me has always been, that warm, cuddly hug you get in a GT3, something that's really balanced, really easy to drive. It's got a really good, nice motor sound to it. Gear changes are like where you expect a race car to have gear changes, and it just goes. So I was half a second faster in that. What did I find from the new Ferrari 296? It's much more like the BMW GT3. The V6 or the 6-cylinder, the twin turbo 6-cylinder, it revs really quick. It hits the red line really quick. The shift lights come up really quick, and you just got to get used to driving it, because the older Ferrari used to drag out a little bit on the rev range and used to be able to like just tap it really nice on the gears. So really interesting in terms of change for the Ferrari. Ultimately a lot of people think the new Ferrari is just going to be that much faster than the old one. But at this stage, for me, you've got to have the setup right for it to be the case. So I'm not necessarily sure. I think we did a survey just before this race, and there was about 25 people that responded to the survey. 2/3 of them have already bought the new the new 296 Ferrari to have a go at on iRacing, but only 5 of them has decided to use their car change and bring it into the Premier Endurance League Championship and make it their car for the rest of the season. So that tells me that it's not just a standout that some of the other cars are when they're released. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I think that's one of the things, because normally when we saw with the last Porsche release as well, everybody was in it like instantly. Everybody was in it, and I've driven the Ferrari. Obviously, when you're coming up through the license ranks, it's the first GT3 you can actually get your hands on. And then I changed over to the BMW, and then I messed around with the Porsche, and then I messed around with the Audi. Don't get me wrong, the Audi just wanted to kill me every time I put my foot on the accelerator. And then I settled in the Mercedes. Now, for me, the Mercedes was kind of the car that I felt most comfortable in. You can see it here with Jackson Pringle, and I just felt really comfortable with that Merc. It did what I needed it to do. Don't get me wrong, Pete, I am nowhere near the best driver in the world, right, ever. And at the end of the day, I found that I could stick my foot down and the thing became planted. And I think, as you say, it's a continuation of the same thing over and over and over again. Basically, by being in one car, you get to know how it handles, you get to know how it accelerates, you get to know how far you push it, and it makes you quicker, which is, to some people, a weird concept, but that is actually how it works.
Yeah, but James, mate, you're born in the same decade that I was, right? And in a lot of iRacing circles, that makes us dinosaurs. But what do we like? What do us dinosaurs like? We like the muscle car era. Yep. The V8 sound, the front engine drive, the rear-wheel drive, the big heavy front engine, a little bit of understeer, and you oversteer if you over-accelerate. That's what the Merc's all about, right? All of these new cars, the BMW, the Ferrari, the Porsche. The Porsche is like a rear-engine thing, and in all of the other Porsches I've driven iRacing, if you over-brake the thing or just go too late in the brake, the back end just swings around on you. It's really, really hard to control. You could never, ever overdrive it. You had to underdrive it in the corners to make sure you got a good lap time. The new GT3 Porsche is a lot more forgiving in that respect. So it's the new GT3 Porsche is like driving a go-kart. It's like an old man like you and I getting into a go-kart track in the GT3 Porsche, right? But the Merc is our old bread and butter, right? It's like the old Monaros of Australian history, or the GT Falcons, a big, massive V8 rear-engine drive little car. That's where I sort of see them all fitting. So it's no wonder that some of these new little young whippersnappers that were born in decades well and truly after us driving in this series and much higher I ratings are choosing cars that are not quite the old muscle car that we're used to.
Do you know what? At this moment in time, at this specific day, at this specific hour and a minute, after reading Tom's message as well at YouTube that says, yeah, James, you're a T-Rex, I feel very old about now. I'm not going to lie at the end of the day, but I do agree with you. We're used to these cars that actually have got something and not just, the latest fashion. So, say what you will, everyone. Me and Pete, yes, we are at the upper echelons. If you put our ages together, we're probably near 100. But then I like to think that we're just like cheese at that point. As we get older, we get better. So there you go. So you lot can say whatever you like, and I'm quite happy being an old man as I am, who never drives a car, partly because I don't have a rig. My 12-year-old son has taken it. So there you go. We'll bring you up the grid very, very shortly. And here you go. You can see it there as well. Adam Jepson out in front with Benn Jeffery in second. Robert Crisdale will be in third. Then you got Jackson Pringle, Owen Coleman and Alex Nog with Nick Wood and Martin Hallinan in 8th place. Sean Bonici is the highest challenger in 9th. Dean Reddit in 10th. Brandon Grock in 11th. And Adrian Gretsch in 12th place. And then on from that, we've got Trent Allen, Stefan Lawrence, Ruko Kuistra, Leif McClymon, Alfonso Latella, and Simon Larter. Matt Craig. Matt Andrews is your top 20. Nick Bodrill, Richard Meyer in 22nd, Joshua Martinez and Daniel Magri is your 24th place. Dean Hunt in 25th, Andrew Dutch 26th, Mark Foster 27th, Cameron Edwards 28th, Justin Davies in 29th, Brandon O'Loughlin in 30, Kevin Little in 31st, Tim Fuge in 32nd, Matthew Gerard 33rd, Luke McKay in 34th, Matt Keane, an elite all the way down in 35th, with Brant Tucker in 36th place. Christopher Ruddle in 37th, Bruce Barnes in 38th, Jimmy Middleton 39th, Adam Holland in 40, Jamie Stewart 41st, Simon Honey in 42nd, Robert Cuthbert in 43rd, Hamish Kelsey 44th, Scott Mitchell 45th, Alan Dawson in 46th, and Ricky there as well, as we know, was having trouble, and Scott is obviously driving the safety car. But here we go. Now these drivers are on this half a pace lap here. Pete, what are they going to look out for when we go down into turn one?
Oh, you have to look out for the first chicane, right? I mean, we got 60-odd drivers turning into a first chicane, and they're all going to be doing about 280 kilometres an hour before they hit the brakes. This is madness on a GT scale, GT3 scale, that you've never, ever seen before. Are we going to see a safety car in this race? I have no doubt about it. It's a point-and-shoot track. There's 4 chicanes, a couple of other really tight corners. There is danger to come, and there's lots of guys who want to get further ahead in the pack. I've got to tell you, Sean Bonici's qualifying effort there as an AM in this Pro Pack is actually awesome. Yeah, to get in that top 10 as an AM is something that we should call out as superior. And well done. And he's driving a McLaren at all.
Yeah.
As well. Not many in the McLaren.
No, definitely not. But here we go. The pace car is going to be in, and this 2 hours of Monza will be up and running. We will be underway very, very shortly. We're going down the front straight now. Adam Jepson is backing them all up. Could this be a bad move? Should he have bolted earlier? Well, we're going to find out as we are going to be up and running. It's a green flag, and we are green, green, green. You can see the strewn of cars going across. You can see Jackson Pringle in the Merc there as well. He's gone on the inside of Adam Jepson. These guys are both on the same team as well. He's spun him round. Pringle spun Jeffrey. No, it's Jepson round. And now other people have come straight in and careered into the side of him as well. And unfortunately for Jepson, he sat on the side of the road there, not being able to do anything. And he was taken out by his teammate. The first rule of racing, don't ever get taken out by your teammate, Pete. And there you go. Jepson was.
Wow, mate. Oh, well, yeah, but Jepson did everything right. I think his teammate just needed to maybe touch the brakes just a little bit earlier, just give themselves both a chance to get around that corner, even though Jepson lost a spot from the start there. But hey, now Adam's got a big fight back, and Adam had a bit of a tough race in the first series too. So let's see how he comes back and see whether he can fight back in this race tonight. But look, the virtual motorsport mentor teams, I'm sure they're on their all Discord together. Well, they were at the same time that they had the race car, having their own little chat without referring that to race controls.
Yeah, I can imagine how that one's going to work out there as well. Would love to be a fly on the wall in that debrief. We've got Nick Wood coming down in that BMW. He's chasing down Hallinan at the moment as well. He's trying to get onto the back of him. Sean Bonici in the McLaren is tucked up further back. There's another spinner. Matt Craig has also had a moment, and so has Trent Allen, I believe. There is Matt in the background in that Porsche, with which he's trying to produce his own airflow there as well, without any bumper on the front. But we can see Kevin Little in the Porsche. He's trying to go up the inside of Leif McClymon in that new Ferrari. And then we've got Mark Foster, Tim Fuge and Matthew Gerard tucked up right behind him as well. As we're going round, completing lap 1 down into lap 2 here, Sean Bonici is also going to be under attack from Dean Reddit. That first turn beat, they just didn't make it work. You know, they should have known what you were coming. If you've run officials all week, should we say, or if you've done practice, there's enough practice sessions there to know, Pete, that it was going to be chaos, and they caused it themselves, the Virtual Motorsport mentor team. It wasn't even anybody else, it was all them.
James, they forgot that they're in a race. They're driving for the win at the first lap. Yeah, it's like, it's that red driver mist has just dropped down and gone, no, I got to beat you, I got to beat you, I got to beat you. Oh, whoops, there's an hour 59 to go. Sorry, mate. Look, at the end of the day, you do not need to do this at this point of particularly at Monza. It's such a good track. It's got a couple of really good overtaking opportunities. But anyway, needless to say, that's where we are at the start of the race. Some people have a good spot at the start of the race with a little bit of gaps. Some people have a little bit of fight back to go. Sean Bonici had in that AM position, he's jumped up to 7. So he's got a little bit of a gap on the rest of the ends and is looking good. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether there is a fight back to come. Or whether it's just too hard with the traffic and the strategies and whatever we have to come ahead.
Yeah, we have. We've got lots of battling away with Alfonso Latella here as well. You've got a little movement. Pringle's in the pits. He is in the pits. Is that a penalty that we think he might have got on all from that beginning as well? Is he going to stop? We will find out. There is side by side between the two arms. Latella and Lata going down into this heavy braking zone at the bottom. They've got to stop that car. Can Lata get it stopped? He has got it stopped, but he's lost that place to Latella, who has having a bit of a brink there. Pringle drive-through penalty right the way at the beginning. He's now down 18 places. That's not going to help Adam Jepson currently at the moment as well, because obviously both of them here, Pete, are going to have this fight back. But at the moment for Pringle, not a good start. Takes out your teammate and then ends up, just for good health, getting a drive-through at the same time.
Well, that just proves that there's no love in motorsport, right? So, the race controllers have had a look at that, whether there's a call or not from the team, but they've had a look at that from their own software and said, we don't care that your teammates, somebody made a mistake there and the other person's got to pay for a driving error. And that's fair. That is all fair in love and war, right? So, we get out there and, both have now got to fight back. Like I said, all it took was just a little bit of patience, maybe a small tap on the brakes, and they all would have got through that turn 1 chicane. And maybe we would have seen some carnage at sort of P15 and below at turn 1 after that anyway. But look, to see it from P1 and 2, hey, it's changed the shape of the race, and it's meant that qualifying has not really meant that that's the way we're going to see the result. That's a good thing for overall. Yeah,
absolutely, and that's just it. It's just common sense at Monza. If anybody's done any officials in any car, in any series, in whatever, it doesn't matter if it's a Formula V, it doesn't matter if it's a BMW LMDH. Turn 1, Monza, let them get away. I use Monza as an IR gain if I do actually manage to drive, because I generally just sit in the back and let them go and cause chaos. So there you go. That's generally for me. We have got a safety car out as well. There has been a little bit of going on here once more, so we will let this safety car play out on the track and we'll see what can happen as it bunches all the field up. Benn Jeffery's just seen a second and a half, Pete. Puff like Harry Potter in Diagon Alley.
Yeah, I don't think that's a big deal at this stage. I mean, we did see, obviously, the first corner crash, and we talked a lot about that. But, in the background, what we didn't see was there's about 4 other crashes. So there's a number of people that have going to have to go into the pits and probably use their fast repair. Everybody gets one fast repair in the Premier Endurance League. So, they're going to have to go in quite early and use that. And hopefully that's a wake-up call for all the drivers, and they can make it clean for the rest of the race, right? We get the race restarted, we get out there and make it nice and smoothly through the first chicane, get everybody going, settle into the race, because essentially it's such a long race. There's two pit stops to go, so you got 3 fuel tanks at least to go in this race. You're going to win nothing in the first 10 minutes.
No, and whoever come up with the idea of the first to last challenge and you're going to go and whiz your way through, it hasn't worked out. That's the thing, right? For Pringle, for trying to make that move, it hasn't worked out for either him or Jepson. Pringle's down in 27th place at the moment. It clearly didn't work out. You know, you've got to sit there, and from Pringle's point of view, put your hands up and go, it was me. I should not have been there. I should not have been trying to poke my nose up the inside when it really wasn't wanted. And he's just got to sit there and say, my bad, my fault, I caused it. And now both of them, Jepson and Pringle, have got to battle their way through, and it's going to be even tougher from this period of time. They have got an hour and 50. You can see on the left hand side there, guys, Jeffrey is leading the elites by 0.3 seconds, but they are under safety car, of course. Benici is in first in the challenger class with Latella, who's about 3.5 seconds, but again they're under safety car. I'll put that into positions for you. He is currently, Latella is 6 positions back away from Benici. So for Benici in that McLaren, he's just got to keep it going. He's just got to keep it on track, and he should be able to open up that gap if he can. Matt Craig is in the pits, Tim Fuge and Ricky Provençal is in the pits as well. I don't actually think Ricky took the start. I know he was having problems joining the session, and I've got a funny feeling that has caused him an issue, so he will be out on track, I'm sure, Ricky, but not right now. As we can see, the safety car still going round for one more turn here as well. Are the lights going to go off, Pete? No, we're going again.
No, just one more lap. I think we might have some wave rounds, because in the series, right, so we do settle the field down. Then once we've got a condensed field, then we allow anybody who needs to tow. So that's respecting the safety of the simulated crew that will be supporting the tow. And then once we've got the field condensed, and before we release them to race again, one of the things we do in Premier Endurance League is we do a wave around. The purpose just to cleanse the field, right? So to get any of the lap runners out of the way of the front of the field who's going to race, and we do that on the lap to green. So if there's a lap runners there, we'll be seeing them come through the safety car over the course of this lap, and then we'll get the pace car in and get the race resumed hopefully at the end of this one.
Well, the Premier Endurance do what the Formula One didn't do, and get the lap cars out of the way. We all know what that's in reference to.
You sound like a Lewis Hamilton fan.
Mate, I am definitely not a Lewis Hamilton fan. I am not a Max Verstappen fan either. I would love to see Perez away from team orders. And don't get me wrong, I am a Perez fan. I'm definitely not a Lewis Hamilton fan. And I'm not a Max Verstappen fan either on that one. So, Pete, there you go. I'm neither.
I am a Lewis Hamilton fan, and it's etched in my memory forever. But anyway, that's another story. We're back here watching GT3 Domino.
How do you know we were doing that? How do you know I meant that, Pete? I don't know. Picking up on the clues already, and we've only been together for about 20 minutes. Unbelievable. Clearly, guys, I am an open book. So there we go. But we're off around this pace lap still. The pace car lights are still flashing. We'll start seeing cars move through. Oh, James, that's very topical. Well, Jace, I've got to entertain myself during the day while we're under a safety car. I'm not going to lie. And I didn't say the incident. I just pointed out that the Premier do things a little bit better than real life. But, you make from that whatever you will. Let's just put it that way. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's that topical. We're a year or two away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Championship was said, somebody got it. It's probably not the bloke that I thought should have got it. But hey, look, that's the way racing crumbles, right? A safety car here, a wave around there, and you might lose a championship. It's a Premier Endurance League. A little tap here at the start of the second corner of the first chicane, first lap, round 2. You might lose a championship. Who knows? That's motorsport.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how we get on. The fortunate thing is we are only on round 2, so we have got a few more rounds to go here before we end up finishing off this season. So settle back. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be very, very interesting here as well. We'll start seeing cars moving around. You can see the field currently at the moment. To give you an extent of how many cars we have on track, there is currently, I believe, 49 cars still running here as well. Matthew Norris, unfortunately, doesn't look like he's taken to the start. Neither is Alan Dawson. So we've got 49 cars still going. So stay tuned, guys. Get your drinks, get your popcorn. If you're in the UK, it's obviously going to be lunchtime. Grab some lunch and sit back and enjoy. If you're not sitting there comfortably enjoying motor racing live on the Premier Endurance YouTube channel, then what are you doing? You know what I mean? Come on. Let's go. Pace car lights are out. We should start seeing some back markers coming through. If there is anywhere situated in the field where they shouldn't be here, they will try and go around and join onto the back of the pack. To be honest, I'll be very surprised if they actually get there. But we will see here as well. It's always tough, Pete. I think that's the thing. It's always tough for the lap runners to try and make this round, isn't it? You know, we're on what we technically call the green flag lap. We're going to be going round now. Wave rounds are going to be happening. They're never going to make it round the whole pace lap before they get to the back of the field before we're green, are they?
Yeah, but you got to remember, the wave round's actually not to give someone a lap back, right? The wave round is actually to purge the field and make sure the front runners have a clean lap. And yeah, I find a lot of drivers tend to think, oh, give me the wave round, because they know the bonus of it is actually you get back onto the lead lap. But it's, the design of that rule is not to get people back in the race. The design of that rule is to make sure that if you're P1 to P20, that you don't have a lap car that's 4 laps down that's going to impact your ability to actually fight for the championship, or fight for the race. So, so really, we've got to be much more mindful of the fact that the way around, can happen as late as the second last corner before the field goes to green, because essentially you just want to get those lap cars out the way. The other alternative, that race organisers have is to push lap cars to the back if they don't want them involved. So, if people get a little bit too antsy and a little bit too ambitious, then maybe that's one way that the league might go. But anyway, look, we've got to keep that mindset in. It's about actually cleansing the race and making sure that what we're seeing is those that have earned the right to be on the lead lap actually have a fight in the lead lap without getting immaturely or unfairly impacted by a car that's a few laps down.
Okay. Now, I thought about what you said, and one of the things that stood out in that statement was if they don't let them through before the second to last corner, right? You can see the lap cars coming through now. There's the BMWs. You can see there's a Porsche coming through. That's free as well. I don't know if we're going to see any more. Now, my fear is here, Pete, if we go green. Now, my definition of blue flags and lap cars is a completely different scenario, right? They're lapped for a reason. They might have had a bad start. They might have spun off. It could be a number of things. My fear is here. If they're not quick enough to get out of the way before the leaders catch up to them again, are they not going to be an impediment anyway?
But by the time they're an impediment, they're going to be quite spread out. So they can actually, won't necessarily be fighting in close for position, and they won't have the impact on the race that they otherwise may have. So that's why you want to let them go and put them into a little bit of clean air. They will go on, they'll get spread out. And by the time the leaders do catch up to them, which will take 2 to 3 laps, then it's actually normalised itself, and it's just like coming across a single lap car rather than coming across a bunch of lap cars whilst there's a bunch of people fighting. So for me, the way it works is very sensible. Anyway, we're getting back to green now, I think.
Yeah, we are here as well. Jeffrey and Coleman are going to take us back to green. 1 hour 43 to go, and we are green on lap 7. Hour and 43 left. Benn Jeffery, Coleman has got Nog right up beside him here as well. I believe that's actually Alex K in YouTube chat here as he's just about to try and put his nose on the inside. Is that going to work for either man? He's not going to be able to run it around the outside. Always difficult. You can see the rest of the field all making their way through the chicane. The checkups all the way through. Jimmy Middleton having a bit of a checkup as well. Luke McKay there and the MRT team definitely checking up, and now we've got this little run out up into the second variante now as they're going in, and it's Owen Coleman under attack from Alex K or Alex Nog, depending on what you want to call him, here as they're heading down into Lesmo 1. That was a little bit better, Pete, wasn't it? They got through there a little bit more cleaner than they did in the first lap.
You think some drivers learnt their lessons, mate, from the first lap? Oh, I think maybe they did, but yeah, they did. I was surprised there that Owen Coleman seemed to check up on that restart. So just as the field went green, it was sort of a little bit of check-up. He lost about half a second there to Jeffries as Jeffries took off. So that was a little bit surprising to me on that restart.
Yeah, I think so as well. Lata managed to stay in front of Alfonso Latella, which was good for Lata. Don't get me wrong, he hasn't got a massive gap here for Lata. He is hanging on to this second in the Challenger Series. This is the Pro-Ams. If you're in the UK, this is what we call them, but they are side by side. Now Lata's trying to have a go. Daniel Magri's trying to go up the inside. He's just pushed Latella one place away from Lata, so Lata's got a big old sigh of relief there. Justin Davies trying to run around the outside of Porsche. There's a contact from the front right to the rear left as Justin goes and disappears on me. Please don't do that as well. But now we're heading down this start-finish straight again. You can see we're side by side up the front at the same time. There's a couple of cars running side by side. Daniel Magri there as well, and the ever disappearing Alfonso Latella. Here he's got Harry Potter in his driving seat clearly there as well. Justin Davis trying to go around the outside of Brandon McLaughlin, and he does make it through. Hayden Norris has also taken an opportunistic move and also sweep round there. After that, he just decided he was going to cut his nose off there, Pete. That's always a dangerous move for me.
Look, everything's a dangerous move at every chicane in Monza. What I'm really looking forward to is I'm hoping now the drivers just settle down. We can get into a nice little rhythm and just get towards that first pit stop. So, it's a 65% fuel tank in this league. So what we're looking for is the first pit stop. Those cars will run to about the 41, 42 minute mark on the fuel that they've got. Maybe a little bit extra if they've had a safety car, so they might go a little bit extra. So what that means is they've got about a 15 to 20 minute window to strategize across the whole race, right? So if you're stuck in traffic at the back, you might be able to come in 15 minutes earlier than that 40, so about 25 minute mark, and just go critical lap to critical lap and catch up through the undercut, so you don't get caught up in traffic. You just catch up, you drive with faster cars, maybe you get a few blue flags, but overall, by the time you get to the end of the race, you catch up a few positions. So I'm kind of hoping the race settles down now. I'm kind of hoping some guys are really thinking about their strategy and their alternate strategy, their plan A's, their plan B's, their plan C's, if they want to talk in that sort of way. And, so let's see, the smart drivers, not necessarily takes and dives, but we know it is Monza, it is point and shoot.
It definitely is, and with plan A, B and C, you're making them sound like the Ferrari strategist on a Sunday afternoon there, Pete. I'm not going to lie. I'm surprised we didn't get up to Z, to be honest, but Stephen Lawrence trying to battle away with Matt Andrews, Adrian Grech and Dean Reddit. Now this is where we're seeing the first lead challenger right now. Sean Benici is leading the field for this Challenger Series, Pete. What is this young man going to be thinking about? He's got 4.5 seconds, you can see it on the left hand side, over Lata. Now we always talk about an AM who doesn't need to and probably will not battle the pro, but Benici, he is quick, he deserves to be there, he's up 3 places from where he starts. He ain't going to move over, is he? He's not going to roll over, get his belly tickled and say, go on then pros, off you go. He's going to want to be there. Keep that gap to Lata as much as possible.
Have you ever known an AM to say, I'm not racing a pro? Come on, man. Sean Benici is going to get in there and he's going to go, I am going to run with these guys, I'm going to defend my position, and I'm going to keep this gap in terms of every other AM wherever. He's earned the right to be there. He's qualified highly, qualified well and truly above the rest of the AMs. He's in there fighting. He's survived the first corner chaos. He's doing everything he can. He's driving like a pro. And that's good, because that's how AMs become pros, right? So is to get up there, is to fight with them and fight well. Does he need to fight for the overall win? I'm sure he wants the overall win. And if you give him a sniff, he's going to fight for it. Now, the good thing is, he doesn't necessarily see on his relative that he's fighting all of the pros, right? So as far as Sean's concerned, every other driver is just another driver in the race. So he's going to drive car by car, not pro versus M.
Yeah, absolutely. I do fully agree. As we just cut up to the front of the field, Benn Jeffery has just lost a place to Owen Coleman. So Coleman has now gone out in front. and he is now leading this race overall. So that's great for him. What's happening further down in the pro category? Well, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th are literally about 1.3 seconds apart, give or take, at the moment, and that's me doing quick maths, and I've not even taken off my socks to do that one here as well. So they're battling away in the middle of the field. Richard Meyer further down, 15th in class at the moment, 19th overall, with Leif McClymont in front of him. Of course, Leif in that new Ferrari, Richard is in the Porsche, and then just for good health, there he is. Matthew Gerard is the leading Ford. Mind you, there is only 2 in the field at the moment, and he's chasing down Brandon O'Loughlin, Kevin Little and Justin Davis. So a great fight going on all the way through the field, all the battles as well. And there's even Stefan Mellis down in 37th having a nice little tiny battle with Bruce Barnes. But look at Robert Crisdale. He's fighting it away here. He's just past Latella. Latella here though, he's under attack from the Porsche from Cameron Edwards. Poor old Latella. He seems to be going backwards faster than he's going forwards.
Oh, he's just having a drive. But I'll tell you what, I've got to give a shout out to Matty Gerard and Matty Keane, right? So they're driving like I think it's a 1960s, the Ford, isn't it? You know, the old GT Ford that still has GT3 credentials. Yeah, these 2 guys have chosen to run this car, not because it's the fastest, just because it's fun to get a good spot in it. And kudos to them. Look, I'm not a Ford man, and in Australia, you know that, you know, you're a Holden or Ford, you know, you're one side of the fence or the other. I'm on the other side of the fence, but I'll certainly give kudos to anybody who's willing to drive that in the modern day GT3 competition. So good on the fellas. We'll keep an eye out on how they go through the race.
Yeah, let's see how these Fords get on there as well. Adrian Gretsch is under attack. He's in the Porsche. He's got Matt Andrews to see in front of him. He's got Stephen Lawrence here trying to take that position away. And the 52 from Lawrence has gone through on Gretsch this time around. What about Cameron Edwards? He's got the ever disappearing Latella there causing problems. It's always difficult, Pete, when you've got an invisible car that's coming back on. He's going back off. There's a spinner at the back. That is Matty Gerard and Kevin Little. Unfortunately, I think those guys have, looks like, possibly had a contact there as well. Kevin Little does get up and running. Matty Gerard also gets up and running in that Ford. Just as you bigged him up there, Pete, he spun it round the corner.
Commentator's curse. I think we called out Adam Jepson at the start, now Matty Gerard, so maybe I better stop calling drives out. Yeah, poor fella, but yeah, you're right. It's a good, lovely track, but you know, if there's a spinner and there's a spinner at the back end of one of those chicanes, you're coming out of one of those chicanes, you know, on the throttle, ready to make up your lap time. The last thing you need is a car sitting sideways on the track, and you're just hoping that they sit still so you can drive around them. Any car moving forward or back at just the slightest amount is really, really difficult to get around, and that's sort of kind of the worst for every other driver, because even though everybody wants to get back on the track when they do have a spin, if there's another car on the track, it's so easy for them to not know which way they go, the front or the back, and then it just creates more turmoil. So yeah, I'm glad to see most of the cars are back on track and racing. Now, the point I'll make is we're now 25 minutes into the race, so we are now at, as far as I'm concerned, we are now at the first opportunity for critical lap pit stops if you want to go the critical lap plan B route.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeffrey's just lost another place to Alex Nog there as well, and unfortunately for Jeffrey's now dropped down into third. It's promoted that BMW up 1 place and is sitting on the podium. What about Hayden Norris and Richard Meyer? They're looking at going side by side here as well. Norris is going to go in deep. He sent Meyer over the sausage curbs. That was a little bit fierce from Norris there. He went in a little bit deep, and unfortunately Meyer had nowhere else to go, and now Norris has lost that place to Justin Davies there as well. Little bit of an opportunistic move there, Pete, I think, as well from Norris. The only thing he manages to do at the same time is he didn't gain the position. He ended up going behind Justin Davies, a challenger representative in this race. So for the elite of Hayden Norris, he clearly got some pace, but, you know, control the pace a little bit maybe, and don't make crazy moves like that.
Well, it's difficult, right? You need to have a half car overlap at the point of turn in to get away with things. So maybe race control's going to have a look at that, and Mr. Norris might be in a little bit of strife with race control. The thing he's got in his favour is he's come out of that and he's been more disadvantaged from the move than the guy he made an attempt on. So something to be really careful of in terms of making moves, because the old point and shoot style of Monza, people are going to try and make big dives, and if they haven't earned the right to be there, making a dive from well and truly behind the car is the sort of thing that's going to get you in trouble with race control in terms of the rules of overtaking for this league.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just seen McClymont go past Cameron Edwards there as well. Justin Davies is another man who was running side by side, but he's managed to settle in here once more. Greg and also Daniel Magri are fighting it out there. Two Porsches side by side coming down into the second variante. Greg loses a position to Magri, unfortunately. What's the situation with Davies here? Fifth in class. Richard Meyer is in front of him, and he's got Hayden Norris behind him. So technically you're not fighting the car behind, but as we've said before with these guys, they're never, ever, ever going to move out the way. And Sean Bonici, who is sitting in 6th overall, first in class, is absolutely proving that one. There's a nice little tidy battle further down the field as well. This is for 8th, 9th and 10th in the Challenger Series. And also, as you can see in the background, there's Grok, who is behind Keane, who is in that BMW, that Ford, sorry. That Ford just looks absolutely massive, Pete. I'm not going to lie. Look at the size of it.
Well, they do look massive. Like I said, they're a 1960s or 70s design, and yet here they are still racing in the current model GT3. So, admire the guys that are out there. They're not the prettiest car, but the guys that drive them love them. They love having to go in them. And if you've ever watched the movie Ford versus Ferrari, you'll understand why people have a little bit of nostalgic. It's a nostalgic desire to actually have a go and drive in them. So, look good on the guys for driving them, but I wouldn't.
No,
Full stop.
I wouldn't either. Let us know in chat if you would drive this massive Ford GT, which you can see on your screen. Nog has got Jeffrey tucked up at the moment, and Jeffrey is nose to tail. He is sticking his nose as close as he can get it to the bumper of Nog, and he's trying to do it cleanly. Let's see what Jeffrey can do. Can he manage to get this podium spot back? It's going to be tough, but we will see. Owen Coleman has just cleared another back marker there as well. That is the Porsche down in 47th place. That is Tim Fugue, of course, who we know has had his own little moments throughout this race. Joshua Martinez, Nick Petrill, Alfonso Latella, all here as well. 11th and 12th in the elite class going on once more, and they're battling away as they start running up into that second variante now, into Ascari, sorry, before they go up to the newly named Michele Alboreto Curva Parabolica. And if you're drunk, try saying that one here once more. But Martinez is running side by side here along the Audi and the BMW. The Martinez on the right in the Audi in the blue, red and yellow. The BMW there as well. That's Nick Buttrill right next to him, having this nice tidy battle. Who's going to win the drag race, Pete? Is it going to be the BM or is it going to be the Audi?
It has to be the Audi. The Audi come off the Ascari chicane, that second one, just a lot smoother. Unless the BM's got a little bit of top end power, and you get him. He's going to get him into Curva Grande, into the Parabolica. But that Audi is really subtle. One of the things I found in test driving here is if you come through Ascari and you touch that little sausage curb on that last turn, the left hand onto that main straight, you will lose time. And that's what happened to the Beamer there. And the Audi just seemed really smooth coming out and came out really quickly. So it's interesting to see the power difference there. The BMW just pulled away side by side. Maybe a little bit side draft from the two cars because the profile of the BMW against the Audi. Not something you usually see in GT3 or planned for.
Absolutely. Justin Davis is still mixing it up here. He's got Hayden Norris now as well. Latella has just passed Martinez. I think Martinez is ruining the day. The latters unfortunately happened because Latella is in that blinking BMW with 3 wide with about lap marker. Now we're too wide. Magri and Greg, who's on that run down into Ascari now. Who's going to come out in front here? The two Porsches side by side. In they come. They're still going to be running side by side. It is Greg who's going to get in front of Magri. Is Magri going to have a run down the straight into the curve of Parabolica here and try and get that position back? Hanlon and Jeffrey. Jeffrey, he's not looking comfortable at the moment here, Pete. I'm not going to lie. He's gone down a couple of places. He lost a place to Nog. He's now got Hanlon in that BMW climbing all over him. Are we looking at the degradation of tyres for the Porsche here? Because at the moment, he's got a BM and he's got two BMs. One's in front, one's coming up behind, and he's got a Merc in front of him as well. Is the Porsche struggling, do we think?
Not yet. I'd say too early to say that. I mean, we are at the back end. We've got about 7 or 8 minutes before we expect them to come in for pit stops. I don't think this is tyres. I think this is a case of just Jeffrey just settling into the race, seeing where he sits, not pushing too hard, potentially even saving an extra lap of fuel. So one of the things that will get you some massive positions here is if you can save 1 or 2 laps of fuel for every fuel stint, you get that late race safety car. Say that drunk. Then what you do is when you come into the pits for that late race safety car, you might save yourself 5 seconds of fuel refilling against your competitor, and that's the advantage you get. That's the strategy that you get from saving fuel, lifting a little bit earlier, not necessarily racing at the front. Owen Coleman's out the front, he's pushing hard, he's making a big gap. He is going full for leather. Now, if he can do that and save fuel, he's almost unbeatable in this race. But for nearly everybody else, maybe this is a case of they're thinking about that sort of overall race strategy, saving themselves a little bit of pit stop time in the last pit stop, and that's how you do it. Exactly what Jeffrey's doing right now.
Yeah, I think that's what he's got to try and do. These guys are going to have to try something different. Coleman, 7.5 seconds down the road. If he carries on at this pace, and he's doing a 147.74 at the moment, and everybody else behind him, Alex Nog, 148.77. Nearly 1.12, actually is 1.2 seconds quicker per lap at the moment. Coleman in that Merc, he has got it going like a train on rails, I'll tell you that much. He's taking every corner nice and straightforward. This is for second and third in the challenges. This is Lata and Latella still battling it out now. They've come back together. Nick Patrill has got past Lata here and has now put Lata back in the clutches of Latella. Justin Davis still running side by side, almost 3 wide there with Hayden Norris and the 52 of Steve Lawrence behind him. And once more, Davis is also having a little bit of a disappearing act there. But let's see how this one pans out as well as the race goes on. Lap 17, 1:20, an hour and 24 on the clock here, Pete. What are we expecting lap-wise? Do you think we're going to get to the 40s, maybe 45 laps?
Oh, I think so. We're about 1 minute 50. We've got 120. Yeah, I think we're looking at about sort of 50-odd, high 50s maybe. In terms of lap count, it depends on safety cars, right? So, as we know, this race can go pear-shaped, and you can end up with quite a few safety cars just by cars running in the sand, having a little bit of a dive, knocking each other over.
Oh, Latella's gone round. Sorry there, Pete, but Latella, who was battling for second and third, he's now sitting there like an old man trying to get on the bus, I'll tell you that much. And he's just got to wait for everybody to go through. He has gone down the order faster than me shoving my child down a slide, I'll tell you that much. And Latella is just sat there. Davis is battling away with Edmonds, but that's Alfonso Latella doing 2 things. A, trying to maintain that second place. B, hitting the curb on the entrance into Ascari, never a good idea. And C, it didn't help the fact that he was blinking and he put his pedal too far down to the floor there, Pete. That was just Latella getting eager to stay in front, I think.
That's the primary cause of a lot of this, is just putting your right foot down just a little bit too early, and if you touch those curbs, you unsettle the car, and around she goes. So that's really unfortunate for Latella. The good thing is he didn't take out any cars with him. It's a little bit of a self-penalty. and he can turn around, maybe use his fast repair, and then fight back to maximise his finishing position. So the good thing is, it didn't impact anybody's other race. So a little bit unfortunate, just a single driving error, and away we go.
Magri with Greg climbing out now. These are battling for 8th and 9th in class. We've got Andrew Dutch further down the order for 22nd and 23rd. You can see it on the left-hand side. He is near enough a 10th back at the moment here as well, but it's all about Greg and Magri. They've been battling it out through the first half of this race. As Pete said, we are coming into that pit stop window. We are coming into it now. Is this going to be the change that we're going to see? Is there going to be somebody somewhere doing something magical within this? Who knows? But let's never, ever, ever count it out. As we can see, Andrew Dutch, Matt Keane for SLM in that there as well in the Audi, and that Ford battling away for 16th and 17th place. They're coming into Ascari now. If you're wondering where they are, guys, the track map on the top right hand corner with the red dot, that is where they are on the track. And as you can see from the track map at the moment, there is no space. You cannot come into the pits and expect to come out in clean air unless you do something magical, Pete. That's going to be a problem, because if they get stuck on traffic, that outlap ruined.
It is. What I'm looking for in the first pit stops is not so much who comes in early. I'm actually looking for who can get a lap or two extra out of their fuel. That's the one that's going to tell me that they've got an advantage for the second pit stop leading towards the end of the race. That's a little bit of an eye-opener to who's got that strategy and who might be driving with a little bit of a cautious right foot and taking it a little bit easy. So at the moment, I think we might be sort of 3 or 4 minutes away, sort of maybe two laps away from seeing the bulk of the pit stops for the leaders. And if any of them go just that extra lap, that's going to be an eye-opener for us, and they're going to be cars to watch for the rest of the race.
Yeah, well, let's see how this one pans out. Now, Lata is in this mix-up field with Martinez in the Audi. We've got Patril in the BMW, who is not going very quickly, and there's a reason for that as well. He's been off the side of the circuit. So, unfortunately for Patril here from the Virtual Motorsport Mental team, he is now down in 13th place. Hayden Norris has just got in front of him, and if he isn't careful, he's going to lose a place to Stephen Lawrence as well. Alex Nog with Jeffrey tucked up still right behind him. Nog has gone into the pits there. Pete is the first one that's blinked.
Yeah, that's the first blinker, so that's 40 minutes, right on, or 39 minutes and 45 seconds, so that's right on the maximum fuel usage time. And now it's really, I think we're going to see the bulk of the field come in at the end of this lap. And like I said, I'm looking for the people who go on. I'm looking for the people who can eat an extra couple of laps out, because that is 5 to 8 seconds at the next stop that they're going to save.
Do we think Jeffrey's on that one, though? Because he's been sat behind Coleman, he's been sat behind Nog. Nog's now going to find himself in the pits. You can see him there. He's just had his tyres changed. He's losing positions. If he isn't careful, he's going to come out behind Bruce Barnes and the rest of these AMs here. And for Nog, that could be disastrous. He is near enough on his way out. The other cars are coming through. You can see them there. I'm wondering if Nog is going to make it. He has just made it, but he's got cars under full speed coming up from behind him. Has this been disastrous for Nog? He's lost 2 places. Is he going to lose another one? Hunt's going to push him around that side as well. There was a Mercedes running wide there. That was one of the back markers. But for Alex Nog, he's come right out in the middle of traffic, P. He's sat in the middle. He's got a damaged Porsche there in front of him, Dean Hunt. You can see Hunt has got no front bumper on his car. He's clearly been in a tap with somebody. And now Nog's got to fight his way through. Surely that can't be good for Nog having to battle the cars on his pit exit.
Well, at this stage, I wouldn't say it's as big a drama as we might think it is. I mean, ultimately, if we're talking about F1, yeah, it would be. But I think that the way this race is panning out, and that there's next to no track space across the whole track because of the track density we've got of cars on there, I think just running into a pack of 2 cars, and we see that Nog's got around him fairly quickly, I think that that's not going to be too big of a deal. There's way too much of this race to play out for, I think, that to be a defining factor of the race at this stage. I think it's okay. And as we can see, most of the leaders are now siphoning into the pits here. And we're going to see this race normalise. We're going to see some AMs go on because they won't use as much fuel as the pros will. They're going to eke out an extra lap or two. That's going to mix up the results as well. So we're going to see most of the pros come in. And we're going to need to give it a lap or two before it normalises, and we see where everybody sits after the first round of pit stops.
Matt Keane in that Ford has carried on as well. Andrew Dutch also. Keane has just put himself up in 8th. He obviously has got a pit stop remaining. Nog is really the lead car at the moment, and the pit stops. He jumped first. He blinked first. He made the move first. So let's see how he gets on now as well. There has been Keane has been into the pits. Dutch has also been into the pits. I've got them registering at the moment. They went in on lap 4, which I believe was that first safety car there, Pete. So if they've topped up, they're going to run more than a few laps longer than anybody else, especially Alex Nog.
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about that, did we? So we sort of assumed that all of the cars stayed out at the first pit stop. So if they've got an extra 4 laps, then they might mix it up, and who knows, they might hold up a couple of litres. But I don't think they're going to be held up that much. 4 laps is not enough, and there's just such a long way in this race to go. An hour and 45 to hour and 15 to go. It's more than half race distance to go. I think there's 2 more to come. There has to be 2 more to come. It's Imola, and there's 45 plus cars on the track.
Yeah, there definitely is, and we will see how this goes on. Jeffrey's in, Coleman's in, and Gretsch is in. What's going to happen to Matt Keane here as well? He's coming up to that parabolica. Is he going to get out in front of any of the leaders? Jeffrey still sat there quite happily as well. He's got his team here, but here comes Keane and Dutch. Are we going to see Keane and Dutch jump these guys after going into the pits on the safety car? Coleman's on his way out. He's managed to keep in front of them. What about Jeffrey? Jeffrey's not stayed in front of them. It is Keane, it is Dutch, it is Coleman. They've all gone past. What about Nog? Is Nog going to go hold of Jeffrey? This was the 2 we're trying to keep an eye on. Jeffrey on the left-hand side, Nog on the right. They're going to be side by side, going down into the car. There's contact there as well. Oh, they've got to come out side by side cleanly on this run up into the second variante now. Nog behind in the BMW. This is imperative that he tries to get through. We said he might not have got held up here, Pete, but clearly to come out behind Jeffrey in that pitless stop cycle, clearly had a hold up somewhere.
Maybe a little bit of a hold-up, but I've got to tell you, there's a lesson for a lot of the young guys and less experienced racers, right? Nog has come around. He's had a chance to take He's had a chance to take Jeffrey at that first chicane. They had a little bit of a bump, but he's pulled out of it straight away, and both cars have driven out of that corner to race on. That is a lesson for everybody watching this, because the worst thing that people make, the biggest mistake they make, is they make that bump and it turns the other car, and that impacts the race.
Yeah, we see one of the BMWs there. I think that was Patril sat on the side of the circuit. He's clearly had an incident somewhere. Has Patril, and he's sat on the side of the circuit currently at the moment. So we'll see how that one materialised a little bit later on. But at the moment, Reed and Magri still here as well. Magri has still got Sean Bonici right behind him. The leading challenger still in front of anyone here once more. And you can see he's got an 8.4 second gap. Unbelievable. Wood is in, Dutch is in, Keane is in, and this is going to allow Nog to retake that second place and should allow Jeffrey and Hallinan and Andrews to retake that rightful positions. Reader as well is also there once more, battling it out, but Matt Andrews and Dean Reader with Hallinan all near enough, nose to tail, coming down into that first chicane. Joshua Martinez further back in that Audi. He's got Hayden Norris in front of him as well. They're fighting it out for 15th and 16th overall. Unfortunately for Dutch and Keane, they have lost a bunch of positions and are still going downwards. They're on their way out of the pits now, and even that has cost them as well. They have gone from a net 6th all the way down to 21st and 22nd, and still dropping here once more. So unfortunately for Keane there, and also it was Dutch, it hasn't worked out too well for them at the moment. Hayden Norris, Joshua Martinez, 13th from 14th, battling away nicely here, Pete.
And underestimate the position where Matty Keane's in, mate, because I think he had an incident, if I remember rightly, he had an incident on that one which actually put him into the pit stops, which would have put him down into the 40s in terms of positions. So to come out of the first pit cycle and be in the 20s, he's still going forward. It might look like it's a bad drop just at what we've seen in the last 2 laps, but I think overall Matty Keane in that Ford is actually coming forward subtly through the back, and we're not seeing a lot of it. But from what I remember at the start of the race, that's actually a good outcome for where he is right now at the back of his first pit stop.
Yeah, so there as well, but let's see how this one materialises once more here, and I believe we are under safety car. That is a cue for me and Pete to grab a quick break, and we'll be right back after these short ads.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. They're going to toss it. They haven't got it. He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! And we are back there as well. Me and B are nicely refreshed. Justin Davis, awesome stream so far. Well, that's what we love to hear here on the Premier Endurance channel. If it is that awesome, let's get them likes on the board, and don't forget, drop some comments down after as well. I'm sure we will read them and also respond once more. So get some comments on the stream. Anything you want to see, anything you haven't seen, anything me and Pete have said wrong. If you want to start the Lewis Hamilton debate, go for it. If you want to start the Massa debate, go for it as well. I'm not really sure what Massa's even up to, but anyway, look, it's all been fun here, and we've got an hour and 7 minutes remaining. Yes, 67 minutes to go. And at the moment, the scores on the doors are Coleman in first place. He is up 4 positions. Then we've got Nick Wood. He is up 5 positions. Benn Jeffery down 1. Nog lost out in the pit stops. He is up 2. Hanneland's up 3. Now we've got to shout out Matt Andrews at the moment. He is up 14. Yes, 1-4. You heard me correctly. Positions there as well. He's not the biggest gainer. Daniel Magri up 16. Absolutely unbelievable for him. And Hayden Norris up 33, Pete. That means he qualified down in 49th place, near enough, right at the back, and is now up 33 places and sitting 13th in class.
I'm going to call you out on one thing. Yes, that's awesome from Hayden Norris, right? But we don't want to have a Hamilton and Massa argument whilst we're looking after the Premier Endurance League Gaming Gear Direct GT3 Championship, right? We are out here to watch GT3 cars and some of the best of worldwide GT3 drivers do what is you don't get a chance to do very often. You get to drive a GT3. It's a single car enduro. You don't have to put it in as a team, and it's a 2-hour race. So here we go. We are back to racing.
Yeah, Nog and Jeffrey again making contact coming down there. I'm not gonna lie, it did look like Nog had the line. It did look like he had the rights, and Jeffrey was like, nope. Here's my elbow, son, and unfortunately for you, you are not going to get this easy. Nog is not going to be able to take this position under ease. It's going to be duress from Jeffrey. He's going to defend it. He's going to put his nose in there. He's going to be a lion fighting it out here. And for Hanlon, well, I'm not quite sure what he's got to be, but whatever it is, he's got to be bigger than a lion, and that's not going to be easy going past Benn Jeffery there, Pete, as well. There was contact, there was close calls, and now they're still fighting it out as if it was the last lap of the race.
That was a case of get out of my way, Mr. Nog. I'm coming through. I want this position. I don't care how much fuel you got. I'm going in front of you, and I'm going to take it with you, like it or not. The good thing is, both cars come out of the corner and they drove well. So, big aggressive driving there from Jeffrey to get in front of Nog at that restart. That's what we see at restarts. What did someone say to me earlier yesterday? A safety car restart in a GT3 race is like battling for a car park in Australian Coles at Christmas time. So, finding track space is one of the hardest things to do. Finding a gap you can drive into is something you've got to reserve, and maybe you've got to bump bumpers to get there.
Simon Lauer has not done himself any favours. He spun coming out of Ascari. He's produced the BMW new Porsche Airflow here as well. He's got rid of his bumper. It was weighing his car down too much, and now he's got it rid of it. Crisdell and Lawrence. Lawrence has gone through on the inside. What's happening here with Dutch and Keane? They're still going at each other. The two prize fighters still fighting out. What about Nog? What about Jeffries? Is they still going to be going at each other? They are at the moment, and we're on lap 26. They've gone through the second variante. They're coming into the Lesmo. We're on board with Nog now. He's going to look for that inside dip. It's an off-camber corner. You can use the speed to carry you round. Now we go again into the second Lesmo. Same thing. Dip it in that curb, and away you go. Coleman has seen that safety car, I think, out of everybody. That safety car with Coleman has done him. like an absolute kipper. He was 7.5 seconds now. Now he's only 3/10 in front of Nick Wood. He's got to try and do it again as Coleman, and that's going to be a tough ask when you've got Wood in that BMW right behind you.
That's right, but Nick Wood was sitting about sort of P8, P9 before that safety car, so he's made a massive advantage. He's come out at the right time, and maybe he was one of those ones that was saving fuel in that first stint to actually give him that jump and get right up behind. Now, obviously, Owen's lost a lot of time because the safety cars held him up and put him back, and he didn't have the pressure that he's got now. Now, I know that Owen and Nick have raced each other a lot. Doesn't mean they're not going to bang doors and have a good time. So it's good to see the guys together. For Nick sort of come out of nowhere out of that safety car, I think Owen will just sort of just settle in, and I think he might see whether he pulls away. If Nick has had the speed but has been stuck in traffic, because like I said, we haven't really seen a lot from Nick until this point of the race, then again, it might be a case that Nick might just sit in behind there and save a few litres in the draft, and then get that advantage in that last pit stop by not having to put as much in.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's see what's going to happen here with Jeffrey and Kay. I have just made the change. You have gone from being Nog to being Kay as they're coming into this first Lesmo on lap 27. 1 hour and 1 minute. We've just broken in to that mark now. Here we go. The BMW. Jeffrey's run a little bit wide. He scuffed a little bit of speed off on that exit of the second Lesmo, which is exactly what Pete mentioned earlier on. It's gonna slow you down. Let's see how it pans out now for Jeffrey and Kay. Kay's sucked up behind him. Into Ascari we go. Kay's gonna get the run. He's got that gruff going on behind him in the BMW. He's got the power. Can he catch up with the Porsche that just does Porsche things at miraculous times after doing the same thing for 50 laps? It will try and kill you if you get it wrong just an inch. Nog's almost diving up the inside of the Parabolica. He gets his nose chopped off here as well from Jeffrey, and once more it is going to be Nog settling up behind him. He's got to try and get down. Jeffrey goes over to the right hand side, hugs that white line like an absolute banshee. He's not giving up that inside line. Nog's going to try and go around the outside again. Can he hang this on once more? He's going to tuck up here as well. They're going to go through side by side. There's going to be contact as well. Kay and Jeffrey are not leaving each other alone here, Pete. There's been contact lap after lap after lap. How are these boys surviving?
Oh, this is some of the best GT3 racing I've seen in such a long time. For those guys to go side by side through turn 1 and 2 like that, with a little bit of a sideways bump, both of them stay on the track, both stay out of the sand trap, both get away with full power, both run to the next corner. That is just awesome driving, and away they go and they compete. And then again, Nog seems to have picked up Jeffrey after the second chicane and into the first Lesmo, so he might have got a little bit of advantage at some stage there.
Yeah, definitely. You can see we've got a BMW, Porsche, BMW, Porsche battle going on, and then just for good health, we're tucked up at the back with Rita in another BMW. But it is now the Jeffrey K Nog battle going into Ascari. Jeffrey's got to set this run up to be able to get the run out the other side. He's got to go up the straight into the curve of Parabolica, and you can see now K weaves once. He stays on his side of the circuit. He's not going to go again, surely. He's got to be looking at trying to take the inside. Jeffrey is the Porsche in a BMW sandwich right about now, and he's got to try and look back. He's got to try and go forward, and all at the same time there, Pete, trying to make sure that he holds on with Hamilton tucked up right behind him as well. Tough move for Jeffrey at the moment.
That's the issue. That's the issue Jeffrey's got, because you can't defend and maintain top space. So if you're gonna try and defend, you're gonna lose a little bit of time, and Nog might get a little bit away from him. So here's the challenge Jeffrey's got. He's now got a fight in front of him, and where does he find his place to have go and overtake? But he's also got to defend from Helen, and Helen's got to defend from Reddit, who's just behind him as well. So it's a four-wide battle, and what they're doing is they're letting, guess what, Owen Coleman and Nick Wood drive away.
Yeah, they are. They're opening up. The gap is 3.5 seconds, 3.6 if you want to be really accurate here. Once more, Mayer and Norris have swapped positions. They've swapped positions again, and they're going to swap positions again. He's forced over the curve. Is the 9.48 there as well? Mayer, is he going to have a slowdown? Absolutely. Is he going to serve it on the line? Well, let's hope not. And he serves it sensibly there. If Mayer hasn't got a slowdown, I would be very, very surprised. But this is 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th in the elite class. And Cameron Edwards, the second man in the challenger class, is sitting there as well. So nice little battles going on. This safety car has brought everybody back up. The biggest loser of this safety car, and I feel sorry for Coleman, was Coleman. He had 7.5 seconds. He's now barely got a second. But you can see the battles we've got. If on the left-hand side they are white, they're outside the second mark. Yellow is half a second. Orange, it means they are literally close, as we can see here as well. With Sean Benici, he's still hanging on to 11th. Mayer, oh no, Norris is round. Oh, that's huge. Absolutely huge. That involved Edwards. That involved Joshua Martinez. That involved Rue Coistra as well, who was in the pits. And that one spin when you were racing so close, Pete, that's what happens.
And it looks like it's just a little bit of on the throttle too early. I can't see, or we don't see in the replay, whether he actually got a touch, but the ramifications of having that spin and then impacting some other cars, it has impacted a couple other cars, but it looks like it's just a driver error at this stage. I wouldn't say that it's on anybody else other than just a single driver error, and it's impacted those cars in the 10 to 15. Now look where we are, mate. We are 56, so we are 54 minutes to go in the race. We know we got 40-minute fuel tanks. Who takes a pit stop if something happens?
Well, we saw the first blinker was Alex Nog here in third, or Alex K, depending on what he would like to be known as. He pitted on lap 19. So if I'm going to do the most simplest maths and double it up, that he's going to double, obviously 19 and 19 when I went to school was 38. So round about lap 38, we may see him blink again here because of the situation. But obviously we've had the safety car in the middle, so they might have been able to get a little more fuel out. Maybe lap 40 if we're lucky. What's Andrews and Reddick going to do? Andrews is trying here. He's tucked right behind him, further in front as well. You can see Reddick there, and the Porsche Benn Jeffery and Kay in front as well. So they're all still nicely congealed and battled together. Robert Crisdale, Richard Meyer, Stephen Lawrence still fighting out. These guys have been side by side. They've been bumper to bumper. They've been paint to paint. They've touched each other out the window by high-fiving as well. They've been that close, and now they're still close once more, side by side. Into the Prima Variante we go. There is the car there, Lawrence on the outside in that 52 Porsche. Then we've got the 948 of Richard Meyer. Mayer makes it through, says thank you very much. You might have had the inside, son, but I've got better throttle, the grip on the outside there, Pete, and makes it around the outside of the first chicane.
And again, it's good complementary driving between the two drivers to go through 1 and 2 there. Maybe give up 1 position and 1 second. That's a lot more than giving up, 1 damaged car and a few laps to get it repaired. So a whole lot of respect for somebody who can give up position and go forward. Now, I've got to ask you, mate, did you do a name change on me? Did you change Alex Nog to Alex K, or am I missing something?
No, I sat here and I thought, should I be calling him Alex K? Because that's what I was told. And I was like, oh, hold on a minute, I better. So I changed it over. Alex Nog is obviously the name that he's got in iRacing, right? So it's clearly pulled it in. But if he wants to be known as Alex K, yeah, sorry, Pete, I probably should have told you. I'm not quite sure when I could have done that. But anyway, it is, but there we go. So it's been, I have changed it, Pete, all right? You got this.
All right, any other names you want to change? Can you just let me know before it happens, right? I'm just looking there going, where did Kay come from? He's not coming from nowhere. I haven't seen him on the grid the whole time, and there he is in P3. Hang on, where did Nog go?
Yeah, well, it's a bit hard, isn't it? Well, we're live here to say, Pete, I'm changing the name of him, all right? I can't quite do it. I'm just going to tell you. Martinez and Grok side by side round the... Oh, dearie me. You can tell we've been here for an hour and 7 minutes. We've got 53 to go as well, guys. Stay tuned. Thank you so much for everybody who's joined us here as well for this epic race from the Premier Endurance League there as well. It's been absolutely amazing. Grok did make it through. What's happening with Trent Allen and the Ford of Matty Keane? Allen's going to go in. Allen's, of course, in the old Ferrari. Matty's in, well, I was going to say the ancient Ford, but that's probably a little bit more disrespectful than I probably needed to be there, Pete. But it has been around the block a while.
Retro. Let's call it a retro Ford.
Oh, I like that
Ancient's
one.
probably a little bit old, but let's call it the retro car of the GT3.
See, that's why you're here, Pete, because that's politically correct, you see. When us English people, we don't have filters and try and figure it out. So we just say the first thing that comes into the head. So it's a good job you're here, really.
Oh, geez, I could call things a lot of politically incorrect as well. Don't get me wrong, like sniffing up the back of a retro Ford like a teenager on heat. Now, but anyway, we're watching some close racing. Oh, did I lose you there?
I know, but... Oh, dearie me, what is going on? It's all gone a little bit wrong as we've broken under the hour mark here now as well. Pete said it all off. I've done it's all just gone Pete Tong up here in the booth. Let's get some oxygen masks and some defibs up here as well, please, as an Australian and an Englishman who both need them. Nick Wood has gone into the pits as well, so he's in. We're on lap 33. We're coming into the area for Alex Kay, I think, aren't we, at the moment? Within the next 5, maybe 6 laps for him?
Yeah, no, we are. We are in a real... as far as I'm concerned, this is a danger zone for the race, right? So if we see something happen and a safety car comes out, do you take it? Because you know you can't get to the end. But if you take it, you know you got fuel and your splash is going to be small. If you don't take it, and you're going to go green, you know you've got a full green flag pit stop. It's a really challenging period of the race. Hopefully when it's settled and we can get to that 120 mark where we've got about 40 minutes to go to the end and people can drive. But as we know, it's GT3 racing, it's iRacing, it's people who want to get ahead of everybody else. There's still 45 cars or more on a small track with a lot of track density. Things will happen, and look what just popped up on the screen.
Yep, the safety car has come out here as well. So the safety car is out. He is on the track once more. There he is, doing the rounds here of Monza. Now this is the decision. You're not going to get to the end. You've got to play it smart, and smart has got to surely lead to you going into the pits. We are waiting for the rest of the field to catch up to the safety car. You can still see here as well, Robert Crisdale is still, well, kind of oddly enough, battling it out here with Richard Meyer. I'm not quite sure if they haven't seen what's gone on or they're just trying to catch up to the pack, but they've got to kind of start settling down as well. Pete, it's that moment. Do you? Don't you? What would you do?
Oh, I was going to ask you the same question. I go.
I would go.
Personally, you take every safety car chance you get because it's a low time cost pit stop. It doesn't cost you the race time that anything else does. And yes, you got another stop to go. I'm going for a pit. Whether it's this close or not. I do it in all the other racing that I do. If there's a safety car, I just jump in. But mind you, I'm not at the front, right? I'm normally at the back or in the mid-pack at the best. So going in for a safety car, it's not like I'm going to lose P1 or P2. I'm like losing P18 to somebody who might be in P25, which is no big deal. But for these guys at the front, I still think the right call is to go, but we'll see what happens. Oh, there's a few cars strawn on the side of the track there. Hopefully they'll pop off soon before we get the race going.
I think that's Brandon McLaughlin and also possibly there with Hayden Norris. I'm just trying to see if I can see where Norris is. He's all the way down here. I don't think that car's looking too comfortable in that Porsche. He might have already been in, to be honest, but I think there was definitely a couple of people doing the rounds there, and we don't mean buying the rounds, we mean going around. And as we generally would say, they've been spinning more than a ballerina in the ballet. So Justin Davis sitting quite comfortably in the middle there as well. So it's been a nice, interesting race for all of us. The pit strategy, the safety cars have thrown it up. Coleman's going to be kicking himself once more. He just started opening up a lead again, Pete. And then out comes another one.
Oh, hang on. Something's just sort of flagged to me that I've seen on that replay. There are cars overtaking cars driving into the pits there. I think that's going to be some trouble. I think that's got to have to be looked at. Your Cardinal Cinder overtake a car in a safety car. It looks to me like we've got a few cars that have gone in the pits, but some of them have gone into the pits quite early. So they've driven past a group of cars to drive into the pits. They're going to gain advantage from that. I think we're going to see some drive-through penalties after that. Cardinal Sin, mate, number one, and as a race controller myself, if somebody overtakes as soon as I've called it a safety car, if there's a hint of overtaking and they're not immediately putting it back and redressing, it's a drive-through penalty as soon as the race goes green. No questions, no answers. It just happens, right? So do not ever overtake somebody under safety car condition. Just take the caution, just sit there and take the time. That's why we have safety car conditions. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, have you got a record there of who pits? I think if my timing is right, it is Nick Wood and Dan Magri are the two cars that are leading after pitting under the safety car on corrected order at this stage.
Well, what you are technically saying then is Bruce Barnes. We've also got Jimmy Middleton. You've got 24th, which is Martin Hanlon, and 23rd in the Challengers, which is Scott Mitchell. They're the four, by the looks of it, that went round the safety car. So we'll keep an eye on that and just make sure and see what happens. But at the moment, there is 4 cars under, going to be, well, I think the normal term would be under investigation here as well. We've got 46 minutes remaining. I would be in, I'm not going to lie. I don't think these tanks are ever going to get you to the end. I think you're going to have to make another one. So I'm along with Pete. Both of us are probably going to be at the back anyway. No big loss for us, but I would definitely be looking at popping into the pits. So let's see what happens here as we're going into the last 45 minutes. Believe it or not, we've been up for an hour and 15 already, and we are on lap 34 with 45 minutes remaining, Pete. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be interesting, and this is going to mix up the field.
And here's the gamble that Owen Coleman and Alex Carr taken, is they're taking gamble that there's going to be another safety car within that last pit stop period. So what they need to do is they need to, on a low fuel tank, once this safety car goes, they need to drive away and make the biggest gap they can. And they're gambling that they're going to get a safety car before they need to pit again. Now, if my timing's right, that's only going to be in about 10 minutes of race time, because they haven't pitted for about 32 minutes because they're on the A pit stop, right, which is just 2 pit stops for the race. That's where they both are, and they're really going to have to fly. They're going to have low tanks, and they're going to have to fly. Now, the cars I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at Nick Wood, Dan Magri. They are the leading 2 cars that have pitted. So Nick's currently in P12 and Dan Magri's in P14. And I think what we'll see is we mightn't see them drive through the field at any certain speed with a lot extra speed right now. But what we are going to see is when all of the rest of the cars in front of them do need to come in for that pit stop, they're going to advantage because they're going to drive straight down that main straight towards the first chicane, and they should have the safety car undercut in their advantage. So it's going to be good to see how this falls out in the last 40 minutes of this race.
Yeah, almost thought the safety car was going to go in. He's not gone in this time. Again, though, Hanlon here in 24th has gone past the safety car once more, and so has Bruce Barnes. So do we think they're going to be in trouble here? Because I've got that as twice they've gone past the safety car. And we said obviously they could overtake the wave around upwards on the green flag lap, which is this one, but they overtook before they got there.
Well, race control might have called that wave around through a little bit earlier than we are anticipating and predicting. But if they've called the wave around through, then they're going to be all good. Let's get them out and let's get them away. Well, they get the advantage of getting a lap back, but let's get them out of harm's way of the rest of the race, purging that field, right? So that's all good if race controllers call them through. I'm talking about when the bulk of the field was coming around the curve of Parabolica, and as the field was coming around, there were cars driving into the pits, driving around cars on the left. And you cannot overtake to drive into the pits, even when you're under safety car like that. If race control were managing some cars doing some wave rounds, all well and good. But if you're overtaking cars and then diving in the pits, too bad, you're done. That is game over. That is a dead set drive-through penalty. So look, that's race control's call. And if we see a few cars having to do a drive-through once this goes through green, don't be surprised. I'm betting they're the cars that were driving into the pit lanes, being a bit cheeky with maybe thinking there's too many cars and race control's only got a couple of sets of eyes. I reckon they'll get caught anyway.
Well, that is Pete Baxter's official diagnosis of what is going to happen here as well. So let's see what goes on once more, as I think we're going to be up and running here again to get this race underway. Is Coleman going to rue the fact that he maybe should have pitted? Is Kay going to rue the fact that he didn't pit either? It's all going to be going off here, and I think there could be some nice or nasty surprises for some people. So let's see what happens once more as we're on this slow run up to Ascari here, trying to get this underway, and we can finally work out what's going to happen. Now, me and Pete are not engineers. We haven't got, information. It's going to be literally what me and Pete think to the best of our knowledge and our ability. And between us, we've got a lot of knowledge. So let's see what happens here with Owen Coleman, Kay, Jeffrey, Reddit, Andrews and McClymont, and see who's going to come out on top. I still want to touch on the back tier, Pete, as well. Sean Bonucci still sitting in 8th place, up 1 throughout the race. Stunning job from him.
I know, but he's got a little bit of pressure now in P10 from Mr. Davies, so he hasn't got necessarily the gap he's got from the rest of the AM. But, still, Sean sitting 10th in the AM Championship before this race and still leading the AM. And he's led the AM for the whole race. So that is an outstanding race from him so far. And, his next, Dean Hunt is P1 in the championship, so currently racing P13. So that's interesting in the challenges there. So there's a few drivers that have worked their way up towards the 10. Sean hasn't necessarily worked his way anywhere forward, so he's got a little bit of pressure to that's coming towards him towards the end of the race. So we'll see how that goes. Now I'm going to pull you up, mate. You mightn't be an engineer, but one of us is.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm not saying anymore. After that one, all I am going to say is in very short succession, Owen Coleman is going to get this up and running. We are going to be green, green, green here. Kay is over on the right-hand side. He made that decision early. Is Jeffrey's going to get out to get him as they're heading down now into the Prima Varianti, the first chicane here at Monza. Jeffrey didn't take that dive. He didn't make that position. And what about what's going on further back here as well? As you can see, Daniel Magri made the most of that, and there's one of the new Ferraris with Chris Dale also having an opportunity and making a move. Oh no, look at this, we're gonna be a hot corner and he's just gonna bunch everybody up. And unfortunately for Chris Dale there, he did go round at the hands of one of the Porsches. I'm wondering if that was Richard Meyer there, Pete. And again, that first chicane, what is going on? And Nick Wood all the way down in 15th overall here. That first chicane still catching him out when we've been at it for an hour and 20.
Yeah, but It's a tough chicane to negotiate side by side, and if you're the car in front and you think you've got well and truly enough overlap, you've got a right to point towards the apex, and that's all that happened there. And there was just a little bit of overlap from the Porsche, and that's turned the Ferrari around. So just that little bit of overlap, but thankfully we've knocked the cars back. There might be a little bit of aero damage, they might have a bit of downforce impact to them, but it's going to be a bit even, and it almost might be a case of race on, but I'm sure that will be under investigation as well.
That's Scott Mitchell, I think. Oh no, it might be Matt Andrews. Somebody has gone round at the back. That is Andrews in the Porsche. He's lost it on the exit of Ascari and has gone round there. What about Dean Hunt in the Porsche as well? He is just about to lose a position to Jepson. Jepson, of course, was the pole man. He had an incident right at the beginning with his teammate Jackson Pringle, and it sent Jepson all the way down the back, but at the moment he's battling his way through like a silent assassin and is now sitting in 10th in class, 12th overall, and he's got 4 cars within touching distance. What about McMiniman here as well in that BM? He's in the new Ferrari. He's just lost that place to Rick Provençal, who never actually started the race on the grid here, Pete, and he's up 33 places in 15th.
Oh, Ricky the Rocket Provenzali, where did he come from? He didn't start the race. He was a little bit absent, but he must have had the benefit of a couple of wave rounds from the safety cars, and he's got himself up into P15. That is a pretty outstanding result, to be honest, to come from nowhere to that. There you go. Whilst I say the wave rounds are about purging the field, there is some advantage to some. But, again, don't be ambitious. Don't jump ahead of it, otherwise it can cause trouble. But yeah, you're right, Mr. Jepson. What he had that first corner incident, he put himself down into about P40 or P45, and he's now knocking on the door of a top 10 finish in the Virtual Motorsport Mentor Porsche. And he's one of the 4 Virtual Motorsport Mentor cars out there, so I'm sure he wants to put a good result for the team, even after it was the 3 of them that come together at lap 1.
It definitely was. They're mainly led by Jackson Pringle, sticking up Merc nose just definitely where it does not go. We've got the 2 Ferraris. We've got the old in the yellow. We've got the new in the blue and black there, and it is the new that's gone past the old, and now the old is on the shelf. He's trying to get through. He's got to dust his dust off them lights. He is trying now as well. They're running side by side. He tucks him right behind him there as well. The old's run out of puff and needs an oxygen tank. What about Provençal here? He's going up the inside. He's trying to go up the inside there of Nick Wood. He does make it through, and old Ricky there is on an absolute flyer there as well. I'm wondering if there's little radio messages, Pete. You know what I mean? Rick's an owner, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's only got to get on the radio and go, right, boys, let me through. You know what I mean? Fear mongering.
Yeah, but to be fair, the Rocket doesn't do that. He does just race. I had a good race with him in the GT3 series. So, to be fair, he doesn't really jump on the bandwagon until somebody starts abusing others, and then he just says, "Shut up, everybody." And it's kind of, you go, "Oh, okay, the owner's talking." Anyway, but look, we saw the 296 go over the 488. The 488, ran out a bit of puff like an old man heading towards a nursing home, and maybe it's time for the wreckers for the 488.
Yeah, definitely is there as well. I can just imagine the old man running down towards a nursing home, I'm not going to lie. Grok and Davies having a little battle here as well. Grok's just gone through, taking 8th in class. Davies at one point was tucked up behind Sean Bonucci, the leader in the Challenger Series. And now, unfortunately for Davies, he's got 2 cars in front of him. We've got Latella all the way down here now. He's down in 27th place. We've seen what's happened to Latella, and we've seen what happened to Norris. They're going to be running side by side out of Ascari. Latella is still Well, I don't know. He's still disappearing, should we say, here once more. And Cameron Edwards says, thank you very much. If you two are going to fight, I'm having that position away. So he has done that. And Edwards has swept round and taken the nose off there, right the way down the bottom of the field in 28th, 29th, and in 27th place, respectively. And they're still going at it now. Edwards and Norris are going to be running side by side down into turn 1. Are they going to make it through? Is there going to be drama? Is there going to be an episode of EastEnders on the track at the moment? Norris is going to send it up the inside. And Edwards says, no, I'm not getting myself involved with that one, Pete. You take it. I'll live to fight another day.
That'd be like Jamie Oliver and Gordon Ramsay, right? Gordon Ramsay's going to say, I'm shoving it in here, and Jamie's going to say, I'll take the safe route. I'll just do a nice park and get a good result.
Yeah, exactly. I love it as well. You imagine them two arguing in the kitchen. It would be so funny. Now, I want to pick up on one thing. I mean, Coleman, right? He suffered with the safety cars over the last two. He pulled out 7.5 seconds. The safety car pulled him back. He pulls out another 2.5 to 3.5 seconds. The safety car's pulled him back. This poor man is on like a bungee cord to the guys behind here as well. But I want to pick up on the fact that since that safety car has gone in, he's pulled out another 2.5 seconds. I'm not going to lie. He is looking pretty much a shoo-in if he can just manage the traffic he's got. He's got Lata and Colborough in front of him. Manage the traffic he's got. And I think Coleman should and could and possibly go on and win this race.
Don't underestimate the two guys that are ahead on corrected order after that last pit stop. So Wood and Magri, those two guys, P12 and P13, remember they stopped under the last safety car. Owen didn't, and I think the only person that has actually run with the same speed of Owen Coleman all race has been Nick Wood. So that's going to be interesting to see how that comes out after correction of the next pit stops. I think Owen Coleman, by looking at his lap times and the way the whole race has gone, I think he's got the legs over everybody else that's P2 to about 8 now. Just enough to pull away from them, and he will build another gap. Nick Wood, you get him back up next to Owen Coleman, and I think we're going to have a race on our hands. But we've got to let, Owen's got to have his pit stop, and if that's under green, I think Nick Wood's going to have a nice big gap, and what we're going to see is we're going to see Owen under the pump to catch up. Now, Owen hasn't yet had a zero incident, hasn't yet had an incident point, hasn't gone off track, hasn't touched another car. Clean race to now. What happens when he gets under the pressure if he's got to catch up to Nick Wood if he's in front? If he ends up with the safety car and he's racing with him and he's behind, does that put him under pressure? Does that see the incident points come up? One of the things we did talk about at one stage, but probably not on this stream, was whether incident points would play a part in this race, and we both know, mate, that it's easy to get a one by at Monza just by coming off the curb a little bit, just by overdriving the car a little bit, and normally it's when you're chasing another car.
Yeah, you can literally, at Monza, you can stare at it and sneeze at it, and you're literally getting an off track. Lawrence and Greg still fighting it out here as well. Two Porsches side by side. Lawrence is ahead there and has made it through. No action, real movements behind. Nick Wood going side by side with the Porsche Hunt. He has made it through as well. Nick's coming through the field. He's made a mistake. He's run over the sausage curb, and Nick Wood manages to hold on. But for Hunt, he's got Matt Miniman right beside him. Is Matt Miniman going to be even brave to make that move as well? He's not. That Ferrari just doesn't seem to have the pace coming out of the corners, and unfortunately he did not able to get hold of Hunt here as well. So unfortunately for Matt Miniman, he's going to have to sit back and wait. But for Nick Wood, he is on the move through the field. What's going down further on as well? Richard Meyer, Joshua Martinez, Nick Patrill still fighting out. Martinez tucked up behind Meyer once more. There's still some cars fighting out further down. Rue Coistra and Simon and Christopher Ruddle, are battling away here once more down in 27th and 28th place. So there's still a couple of battles all the way through the field. Dean Reddick and Ben Jeffery Well, they're not leaving each other alone either here once more, and Jeffrey's closing on the back of Reddit here, Pete. Into that last half hour now, mate. It's going to be an interesting one.
No, that's right, and we're going to be coming up to that last lot of pit stops for anybody who hasn't pitted yet, and under green flag conditions, that's going to shake up this order. I think we're going to see a really different order in about 15 minutes' time if we don't see another safety car. So I'm really looking forward. I don't think this race is over yet by any way, shape or form. It looks like Owen has the goods, but I think there's a surprise or two yet to come just as we shake out that order, because that top 10, including Ricky the Rocket Provenzali, the guy who runs the league, they haven't pitted yet. They haven't had their final pit yet, and that's got to play out. I'm also seeing, like Sean Bonadici in the Challenger, he is still holding off the rest of the challengers. He's still got a nice little gap of a few seconds over Davies and Hunt, and he's just got a comfortable lead there, and I think
he's just got into the pits.
If he can maintain that, well, there we go. He's into the pits, so he's going to start shaking that out. So we might see in the next few laps, we might see a new order come back to us.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling we've got these green flag pit stops. We've got 28 minutes. Are we going to see another face safety car? Well, only time will tell. We've got a flutter of changes in the order. We've got the 28 minutes remaining. We are into the pit stop cycles now as well. This is it. The last 28 minutes of the Premier Endurance League GT3 Australian division. Of course, we have got an English division as well. If you want to get yourselves involved in that one, Discord links, I believe, down in the YouTube description. Get yourselves involved in that and come and race in the Britain one. And you could also be like Creations in YouTube chat and be on TV. So there we go. Absolutely stunning when people jump in and get so excited when they see themselves on the telly. Brandon Gorok and Gretsch still fighting out once more here as well, Pete. These guys kind of haven't really left it alone, but it's not looking like the new Ferrari has kind of got the legs on the Porsche at the moment. As I say that, they're both in the pits together, so that cancels out that next point, Pete. Don't worry about that. We'll go on to Martinez and Nick Patrill there as well.
No, there is, and look, that's a good fight back from Bottrell, because remember he had a penalty from that first lap incident with Jepson, so he ended up having to, if it wasn't for Jepson, it might have been someone else, so he had to do a drive-through on stage. So the fight back into P12. Now these are pit stops that are going to take us to the end of the race. Every other pit stop previously is not going to get us to the end of the race. There's always going to be a splash and dash. What we're seeing now is we're seeing the final pit stops for the cars that are going in, and it's that top 10 that's going in. And look at that, Coleman, Jeffrey have gone through. They've gone through, so they're still able to save fuel whilst being fast. And look who's moved up to the top. Nick Wood and Daniel Magri coming into P3 and P4. I told you, I called that as that was a good pit stop under that last safety car, even though they couldn't go to the end. They are getting up there, and they're going to work their way to the front through this cycle. And I reckon by the time that Coleman and Jeffrey go for the pits, Wood and Magri are going to be P1 and P2 in this race, and they are going to be hard to beat without another safety car.
Well, let's see what happens here once more. 26 minutes remaining. Stay calm, stay composed, get your drinks, get your popcorn. Reddit is just given Alex K a nose job there as well. Unfortunately for him, Reddit took his nose straight off of K, and unfortunately K is in the same plastic surgeons as Kim Kardashian getting a nose job done. I'll tell you that much, because there was not a lot of room left there for K on that one. We've got Tim Fugue and Matt Keane. Keane in the Ford. I was trying to remember what the word Pete said. What did you call it?
The retro Ford. The retro Ford. The retro car.
That was the one. I was going to say prehistoric, but I didn't want to be rude. I couldn't remember the word, what we said. The retro Ford there as well. Bottrell and Joshua Martinez are going to start moving their way through the field as Jeffrey Coleman and Kevin Little are into the pits as well. I'd bring you up the overalls. You can see the places swapping and changing and swapping, and that's because the pit stops are taking place. Adam Jepson, the man who got caught up in the turn one lap one incident with Jackson Pringle, is now 15th in class, 24th overall. Can he be counted out, Pete, for a top 10, do we think?
Not at all, not at all. But I've got to say, I don't think Matty Keane's going to be too keen on you calling him prehistoric. Even though the car's quite retro, I think the driver's a bit younger than that. So, shout out to Matty, good guy, but he can keep driving the retro thing. But yeah, don't call Matty prehistoric. I think he's got more teeth than that.
Well, I was talking about the car, Pete. You don't try and hang me out to dry here, mate. I'm not a pair of dirty underwear, I'll tell you that much. He's just strung me out here.
Have a look who's got to the top, mate. Nick Wood and Dan Magri, P1 and P2. Guess where Owen Coleman is, P11. Look at that. What a call. Look at that. That is safety car pit stops coming to the fore. That is the advantage of safety car pit stops. Now, if this race can go green to the end, Nick Wood and Dan Magri have pulled off a masterstroke. What they need to do now is they need to make a big cap, because they still have, in my view, a splash and dash for probably about 4 laps of fuel. So it's not all over, but it's put them in a prime position. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, Leif McClymont and Rick Provenzali there coming together out of the second Variante, and unfortunately it resulted in Rick's got damage. He's in the background, he's just got out into the gravel with his bucket and spade there and making some pretty sexy sandcastles. But at the moment we got Middleton, he's got under pressure from Kevin Little here as well. Little's going to try and go up the inside of Ascari, doesn't make it through this time around. We're keeping an eye on it here as well. The safety car, I think, if it comes out here, Pete, I'm not going to lie, is going to juggle up this field like no end, and this could be tough for anyone to catch Wood and Magri, and I'm the same as you. I think they should have got in, but let's see what happens here as this race does materialize once more. We're going into the last 22 minutes of this one here, and they are now with Kevin Little, Jimmy Middleton and Jess McMiniman are all battling it out further down. There's a car parked on the side of the road. I think that is the safety car. I think that's the safety car.
Where is it? On the side of the road?
It's on the side of the road.
T1 and T2? It'll be up there. It'll be letting cars go through. If that's the safety car, it'll be letting cars go through to wait till the leader comes around, which they'll be waiting for Nick Wood to come around. Show it to me. Show it to me. Let's see it. I want to see it on the screen.
It's got to be the safety car. He's got to be there. He is there.
Yes,
he's perched on the side.
Yes, that is. Yes, McLean is still sitting there on the side of the track. That has to be the safety car. That is the safety car waiting for Nick Wood to come around. Nick Wood and Dan Magri are going to hate this. They've got to go in right now. They've got to do their splash and dash right now. They've got to take whatever position loss they've got to get and get back out behind this safety car. That is going to... Oh, mate, we are now back down to... We're going to be down to a 17-minute sprint race after 2 hours of fun strategizing, balls to the wall driving by a lot of people, all this aggressive overtaking. It's going to come down to this last safety car and another 17-minute race to the end. Who wants to be a race car strategist?
Not me, but on that note, guys, we're going to leave you hanging, as they do with dramatic moments. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back after these adverts.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Oh, they're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's just on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry. Okay, guys, we have just ran into an issue. Basically, as you know, me and Pete have been working hard to do this as live as physically possible, okay? I don't even know the results. Pete does. And we've been trying to do it as live as physically possible. I've worked very hard this morning with the guys trying to get all this set up so you guys think it's actually live. Now, the issue with the first replay was it only ran till the last 18 minutes, and then I had to change replay files when that safety car come out. The problem is with that safety car, that other replay, is iRacing is now doing an update, so I cannot bring you the rest of the broadcast. Now, for me and Pete, it's a kick in the teeth. We have worked so hard for the last hour and 40-something minutes to try and bring you the broadcast, and I've worked my butt off since 5 a.m. this morning, making sure it was all set up and ready to go. I can only but apologize right now the fact that we cannot bring you the last 17 minutes of that race. As I said, the first replay only ran out up until the 18-minute mark, and then we had to change replays. I've just come out of the session. I've gone to change replays, and iRacing is updating, which means I cannot show you the rest of the 17-minute race that me and Pete was so looking forward to. I don't really know what else to say on that one, Pete.
I think you've covered everything you can. It's what's happened. It's all we can do. No spoilers for the end of the race, because I think, James, we do owe it to everybody to come back when iRacing comes back online and finish this off. And I know that might be a wait for some, but certainly no spoilers. It is a cracking last 17 minutes, and we'll do what we can to bring something to everybody.
Yeah, so I tell you what we will do, which might make it a little bit easier than, obviously there's a time difference between me and Pete, so rather than me and Pete trying to tie up, it might be easier if we just do this tomorrow at the same time, Pete, as we did it today. Would that work?
That'll work for me, mate.
Awesome stuff. Well, you're going to have to tune in tomorrow, guys, and finish the rest of it. I'm sorry. I am deeply sorry. I didn't realise iRacing was going down. So tune in tomorrow, 11 a.m. for me. Pete, what's the time when we go live for you?
8 a.m. AEST. So that's Queensland time for all of those at the human side of Australia.
There we go. Right, guys. Well, I'm sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger. I feel like an episode of EastEnders, and all I've got to do now is go dum 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 dum. Tune in tomorrow. But for now, from me, I've been James Parfitt alongside Pete Baxter. Take care. Have a great day, and hopefully we will see you come back tomorrow. Take care.